So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna review the movie, and then I'm gonna give the rating, and then after that I'll get into some spoilers, so it'll be one big video. Now, I don't want you to get the wrong idea, because I'm gonna spend most of the time talking about negatives. We talk about a positive, it's just a positive, and then you move on, you say it was awesome. If it's a negative, you say, this was bad, this is why, and here's an alternate that they could have done. So you take longer to explain a negative than a positive. Just know going into this that I'm going to spend most of the time talking about negatives, even though I really like The Last Jedi. Also because most of the positives I talk about in the spoiler sections, and I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody, so... What I really liked about Star Wars The Last Jedi is the visuals as usual. Star Wars is a great format for spectacular space battles. They spend a lot more time in space in Last Jedi than they did in Force Awakens. The basic starting premise of the movie is that the rebels are under siege from the First Order. It's like, we can't really kill you now, but you can't really go anywhere. And I really like that, like, castle siege thing applied to ships in space. I thought that was cool. The rebels are on their last dire legs, and the Empire is kind of closing in. First Order. Whatever. The movie starts out with like a full-on space battle. I don't mean like one ship escaping and taking out a few cannons like in The Force Awakens. I mean like Rogue One level of, you know, battles in space. What's that called when you have a battle in space with ships? I think it's Star Wars. And it's good to see just a ton of, like, commands being thrown at people and just stuff happening and people exploding and dying. It's very front-loaded with all the action. It's a great opening sequence. The effects are wonderful. The sound is great. There's a part where Poe, like, jerks his joystick to the side and his starfighter does, like, a 180 that makes such a cool sound. You know, when Kylo Ren's lightsaber is inside something and it continues to crackle and do damage to it when it's already inside, the sound is so good. The camera work is really good. There's some very distinct color palettes. It's a very beautiful movie. There's some very breathtaking shots. The only complaint I have about the visuals of the movie is that it does not use the IMAX format at all. And I know I complained about this a lot. You know, it's the biggest thing right now. It's Star Wars. And when the biggest thing doesn't use the best format, that seems like a waste. They have all these beautiful shots and all these great space battles that would look 10 times better in 191. Open up your frame. Use the IMAX camera, for goodness sakes. The music in Last Jedi, John Williams reuses a lot of the themes from Force Awakens, you know, Rey's theme and the Jedi Steps, and that's great music, but it's been reused. It was in Force Awakens. And you can only hear the bam bam ba bam ba bam ba bam theme so many times. John Williams rehashes what little new music he wrote for Force Awakens and then all the old classic Star Wars themes, because I haven't heard those a bajillion times. The music's really lazy. And whenever there's just background ambient music for like the fight scenes, it's just bum 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. I'm getting really sick of that. Now, as cool as all the big space battle sequences are, they are severely undercut by how stupid everybody is. Leia's a stupid idiot and nearly got everybody killed because of Poe. Poe's a stupid idiot and nearly got everybody killed because of himself. And General Hux is the most incompetent man ever to breathe. So the movie opens up, so the movie should have gone like this. This is it, gentlemen. We will snuff out the remainder of the rebellion and the First Order shall reign throughout the galaxy. Fire on that ship! But sir, there's a lone X-Wing. Did I fucking stutter? Yes, sir. Very well, sir. Boom, boom, end credits. Movie should have been over. Like, seriously? But no, General Hux is a freaking cartoon character. I hate this guy. This guy sucks. Why is he in a place of power? Snoke says something later, and he's like, you wonder why I keep a rabid cur in a place of power. He can be used as a sharp tool. And I'm like, bullshit, how? And the contrast between the captain of the Dreadnought is just so aggravating, because the captain of the Dreadnought is awesome. He's got like a thick chin, he's kind of a fat guy, and he's like a submarine captain from World War II, and he's yelling and barking at people, and he's like intense, and he actually realizes that, you know, lives are at stake. He's not trying to penetrate our armor, he's clearing out our surface cannons. We need to scramble the fighters. 5 bloody minutes ago. And that Rebel versus Empire section of the movie I really liked. It is this one contained... The whole movie takes place in about 24 hours. You feel the tension of, like, the First Order bearing down on the Rebels and, like, we need to buy time, we need to get out of here. Some really sharp cuts in this movie, too, how it edits in the scenes between Luke and Rey and then jumps back to the Rebels. Like, the cuts between those are really well done. Now, the biggest issue with Force Awakens is that it is straight up a remake of the original Star Wars. And I can say I came into this one a little concerned, but I will let you know that it is not a remake of Empire Strikes Back. There are scenes and moments that are taken from Empire, but they're like out out of order, and the actual plot itself is its own self-contained thing. This movie does have its own vision, and for that I'm very grateful. The biggest problem with this whole movie is this bitch and her whole side quest on Canto Bight or whatever, the casino planet. The movie stops to have this like Disney political message about saving the animals and about the cruelty of men in high places and fueling the war machine. And there's this cheesy ass shitty CGI animal stampede where they mess everything. It's terrible. It is awful. Worst part of the movie by far. And Rose Tika, bitch, whatever the hell her name is, has the world's ugliest cry face. Here's how much of a difference hairstyling makes. It's like, here's another picture of her. She's by no means hot, but like, at least it doesn't accentuate how fat her face is when she's got bangs down to here and her hair poofing out to the side and in this, you know, poofy rebel jumpsuit. And her speech is really hurried and it makes her sound super annoying, and she's one of the worst actresses I think I've ever heard. She's with Finn because it's because, you know, blacks and Asians, you know, they can get along. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I'm glad the movie told me that could happen. Every second she's on screen, the movie sucked. Best part of this movie is Luke freaking Skywalker, man. You do the easy thing. You make him old and fat. You plop a beard on him and make him all angry and grizzled. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. His whole thing with Rey on the island is just fantastic. What they do with Luke, Rey, Kylo Ren, and the Force is like the crux of this movie. And Luke's making this point. It's like the Force is not some superpower the Jedi use. The Force is like God. It's like this everlasting, omnipresent tension between all things. And they really like make it mystic again. And they really emphasize like what the Force is. And I really, really love that. And the new Force powers that they use in The Last Jedi are awesome. Now in Force Awakens, I was like, Kylo Ren, it's like you compare him to Vader. It's like by the second movie in the series, between the two of them, who is more fleshed out? Kylo Ren. Who has more of an arc? Who is at a different place at the next movie than he was in the first movie? Kylo Ren. Who is a more imperfect, flawed, conflicted character as opposed to just a menacing, evil villain with a mask? Kylo Ren. Which one do you like better? Darth Vader. Now, what they do with him is good. He's got a good story arc to him. He's still a whiny, emo, tantrum-throwing kid. He starts to grow on me as his relationship with Rey grows and complicates. I think he is a well-written character. I just think Adam Driver plays him rather dully. You know, like, okay, and if he was the exact same dude, and he had, like, a short beard, shaved on the sides, and, like, slicked back hair on top, maybe I'd think differently. But he just looks like greasy, grungy, emo punk. I don't know, man. Hairstyling's everything. And maybe what Kylo Ren lacked in maturity, Snoke would make up for, and he totally doesn't. Of most of the things that upset people, most of them didn't bother me. Like, Captain Phasma is a complete throwaway character. Didn't really bother me because I didn't buy her toy. And I will admit that Force Awakens does start a few things that Last Jedi just completely drops. Like the Knights of Ren, that goes nowhere. And it makes clear that Disney didn't really have a 3-part trilogy plan when they went into Force Awakens. They just kind of let JJ do what he wants, and they let Rian Johnson do what he wants, and you get 2 different movies. Overall, I really, really liked Last Jedi. There are some sweet-ass fight sequences. There's one in particular near the end where I was just like, yeah, it was cool. Luke Skywalker kicks ass, Rey is great, the space battles are awesome, the visual quality of this movie is pristine. I found this movie to be very satisfying. I'm not like a diehard Star Wars fan. If this movie had sucked ass, I would not have cared much. It's already been a great year. I got Logan, I got Baby Driver, I got Blade Runner. The worst thing about the movie is Rose and her stupid side plot should have been cut from the damn movie. And how they kept talking about, oh, we need to find the Master Codebreaker. It sounded like the freaking Master Builder from the Lego movie. I'm like, this is childish nonsense. Really like what they did with Leia, really liked Rey, and those little Porg fucking things were awesome. And I am awarding Star Wars The Last Jedi a silver medal. You're so confused by that. I have another video I'll explain, don't worry. The movie succeeded where Force Awakens failed in that it is its own vision. It does its own thing. It doesn't just cater to Star Wars nostalgia fanboys. It's better than Force Awakens in that regard, and way better than Rogue One. Full spoiler warning. I'm about to talk about the end of the movie. 1, 2, 3. Yoda! Oh man, that was awesome. Seeing Puppet Yoda again from Empire Strikes Back. And he's Puppet Yoda too. Look, his eyes are half closed and he looks like he's on freaking drugs and he's going and bonking Luke on the nose with his little stick. Oh, that was such a great scene. Weakness, frailty, failure. Yes, failure. The greatest teacher. Failure is. Leia using the Force. So Leia uses the Force in the movie after she gets, blown out of the airlock along with Akbar and everybody else. I'll get to that in a second. So Leia using the Force, I'm on board with. but it looks so stupid. She literally Supermaned through the air, or through the space. Now, the only character arc I found pretty dumb was Poe. Poe Dameron is a stupid, dumb idiot. Leia should have done a lot more than smack him and demote him. But the whole mutiny side plot is a stupid waste of time and should never have had to happen. It stems from miscommunication from Vice Admiral Holdo, you know, Laura Dern, purple hair lady, who sucks, by the way. That was so manufactured. It's like, why? You have no reason to not tell people that. And I don't buy her as this admiral, as this experienced military officer. She walks around all twitsy with her hands. It looks like she hasn't even touched a gun before. What should have happened is that should have been Akbar. Should have been Admiral Akbar. And he should have been the one to kamikaze the Star Destroyer into Snoke's ship, which was awesome, by the way, with the hyperspeed jump and sound cuts out. It's like that fleck of blue, and then it's all oh, that was cool. My first question is, why wasn't that plan A? By the time she does that, like 15 damn transports has already been shot down, so she did a great job saving all 12 remaining members of the Resistance. This Holdo lady I've never met before, sacrificing herself 10 minutes in from when we're introduced to her, doesn't have any emotional resonance for me at all. Man, alright, have you seen Kingsman 2? Somebody dies at the end of Kingsman 2. Remember that? It should have been like that. Admiral Akbar should have been doing it in time with the music. He could have had this war song or this rebel national anthem playing and he's singing along with it as he's activating all the switches and preparing for the light jump. Maybe it wouldn't have worked because he's, you know, a fish man and he in a rubber suit. He can't really show emotion all that well. But dude, seriously, something. Also would have been better to have, you know, some good new emotional music from John Williams to set the moment. You know, that's why directing is so important. A lot of people focus on writing just what happens. Writing is what happens. The directing is how it happens. Music will take me from just saying that was cool to tearing up over something. That's how important music is. And when John Williams drops the ball and does a super lazy rendition of every other Star Wars theme we've already heard, you don't get that. Okay, and something else I found immensely satisfying is Rey's parents being dirty, filthy, junk trader, hobo nobodies. You know what I've had to put up with the last 2 years since Force Awakens came out? Is every single person being their own writer and putting up their YouTube fan theory about where Rey's parents come from. Oh, she's Obi-Wan's daughter. Oh, she's Luke's daughter. Oh, she's Chewbacca's daughter. You know, everybody in the Star Wars community being super proud of their stupidly obvious fan theories about somebody being surprise related to somebody else. And when they said Rey's parents are nobody, I was ecstatic, because now an entire 10% of YouTube is obsolete bullshit. You know how satisfying that is? It's like, that's what you get for not shutting the fuck up. Doesn't matter who her parents are, doesn't matter where she's from, matters what she does. It's not who she is, but what she does that defines her. There is a little too much rope-a-doping about the dark side and the light side and who's gonna turn to who, because like at the beginning when Rey first, you know, she goes like right to that like pool at the bottom of the island and Luke's all like, you went straight to the dark, and he's all like afraid of her power. It's like, I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now. And that didn't go anywhere at all. She's completely light side the whole time. Even when Kylo Ren's like, join me, she's like not even remotely tempted. And then Rey's all like, Kylo Ren will turn to the light side. Then Kylo Ren's like, Rey will turn to the dark side. And it's like, no, you're gonna turn. No, you're gonna turn. And I'm just like, Force projection Luke was awesome. That was a great scene. I love that power. I like how they reach new levels in the Force. His standoff with Kylo Ren was really, really cool, and I like how he bought the Rebels time to escape. I'm upset not because they wasted Luke Skywalker in this movie. I'm upset because he was great, and I want to see more. Unless it's like Disney's vision to like kill off all the old characters so they can send it off, pass the torch along to all the new characters, then Disney's vision sucks. What, is Lando gonna come back in the 9th movie and die at the end of that one too? I think that's about all I have. My voice is getting hoarse. I was in a yelling match with somebody on Rainbow Six Siege because they didn't like Logan, and I was so triggered. But all that aside, it's great, great movie. You should see it in theaters. Excellent filmmaking. There's some stupid stuff in it, but that's why it's a silver medal, not a platinum. I'm still waiting for that R-rated Lord Vader movie. That would be pretty sick.